Hello everyone and welcome to my Hip Hop Gossip For You channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Brian Steele, Young Thug's attorney, responds to the verdict of the trial. This week, Young Thug's release from prison has been the most talked about story in hip-hop. Thug accepted a blind plea bargain on Halloween. Judge Paige Reese Whitaker fined him thousands of dollars and put him on probation for 15 years. For the first 10 years of his probation, Whitaker also prohibited him from going anywhere in the metro Atlanta area. In certain circumstances, he is permitted to come, but he has 2 days to depart the area. The verdict has fans ecstatic. For them, it signifies that a beloved hip-hop artist can return home and carry on with a hugely prosperous and significant musical career. Brian Steele, Young Thug's attorney, is less thrilled. Steele made reference to his own dissatisfaction with the result when asked how Thug feels now that he has been released. He did stress, though, that Thug is glad to be returning home. As far as Jeffrey is concerned, he is aware of my emotions, which I will not discuss due to attorney-client privilege. Steele, however, stated outside the courthouse, this is not the same as a not guilty verdict. He described in full Thug's treatment while under custody. He explicitly mentioned his cell's subpar state. Every day at 4:15, nobody here awakens on a concrete floor that they refer to as his bed. He arrives at the Fulton County Courthouse shackled at the hands, waist, and feet, eats from a bag on pavement, and then sits there with a leg chain every day while listening to lie after falsehood. Jeffrey is therefore thrilled to be going home today and not having to endure the trial for another 90 or 100 days. Young Thug followers now consider Brian Steele to be a minor hero. The RICO, racketeer-influenced and corrupt organizations, legislation in Georgia are renowned for being challenging to understand. Other well-known cases have made use of them. Georgia's lawsuit against former President Donald Trump for his attempt to rescind the 2020 election results is noteworthy. Steele failed to secure a definite, not guilty conviction for his client. However, his efforts made sure Thug wouldn't have to serve another day behind bars. Following his arrest in May 2022, Thug was detained for more than 900 days. With little obstacles, Thug can now resume his musical career. He was instructed by Judge Whitaker to avoid interacting with other YSL members and co-defendants during the trial. But when Thug signed Ghana to his record label in 2017, he made a particular request for permission to carry on working with her. The judge gave in. He is also able to travel for musical purposes. Thug's inability to tour or work with other musicians won't be a concern for fans. Without the legal advice of Steele, to whom Thug is indebted, none of that would have been feasible. Young Thug doubters are ripe by Mariah the Scientist in concert tirade. At her Brooklyn show on Thursday, Mariah the Scientist swore at cynics who made fun of her relationship with Young Thug. Mariah cut short her onstage prayer to take aim at everyone who believed that Young Thug would never be allowed to leave prison. She said to the audience, "There were people who told me I would never see him again. Some were making fun of us and laughing at me as well as the circumstance. This is so insane, man. It's meant to be a prayer. Thank God, I guess. Amen. Let's get back to you. All of you who questioned me, questioned this, and claimed that it would never return, you all. Now, what are you going to say?" During his imprisonment, jokes about Mariah and Young Thug's romance were common. He spent over 2 years in prison. In the 2023 start of the YSL RICO trial, Young Thug agreed to a plea bargain. On Thursday, he entered a guilty plea to gang, drug, and firearm charges. Young Thug was given a 40-year sentence by Judge Paige Reese Whitaker, although he was spared jail time. Time served was converted to 5 years. Young Thug was released after being under tight probation for 15 years. He faces a 20-year prison term if he breaks his probation. For the first 10 years of his probation, Young Thug was told to avoid the metro Atlanta area. The 33-year-old rapper is permitted to make court-mandated appearances at educational institutions or child-serving organizations. In addition, he was granted permission to travel to Atlanta for weddings, funerals, and other events. With the exception of his brother Unfunk and YSL collaborator Ghana, Judge Whitaker prohibited Young Thug from interacting with his other defendants. During his probation, Young Thug is prohibited from owning a firearm and is subject to random drug testing. A week following a blunder by the prosecution in the YSL RICO trial, Young Thug got his plea agreement. Several defendants reached plea agreements with prosecutors as a result of calls for a mistrial sparked by unredacted information. The father of Little Thug is glad to be home, but he condemns the harsh 15-year probationary sentence. Following his son's release from Cobb County Corrections following his 2.5-year court battle in the historic YSL RICO case, Jeffrey Williams Sr., the father of Young Thug, has voiced a range of feelings. Williams Sr. spoke to the media on Thursday, a few hours after Young Thug was given a 15-year probationary sentence as part of a non-negotiated plea agreement. He expressed both relief and dissatisfaction with the punishment's parameters. As part of the agreement, Young Thug entered guilty pleas to a number of counts. He was then given a lengthy probationary period, which includes, among other things, a restriction from living in the Atlanta metro region. Williams Sr. had a nuanced reaction when asked how he feels now that his son is free, openly criticizing the tight conditions while yet praising his son's return. "I'm so happy that he's returning home," Williams Sr. said. "On the other hand, I still desired to battle. But he made that choice. However, I brought him up to be the guy he is today. From the time I was a puppy until now, I have always been a part of his life, and I will remain so as an adult." Williams Sr. clarified that he believes Thug's probationary conditions were especially offensive, notably the prohibition on his son's return to Atlanta. He expressed his displeasure that someone without any connection to the city could deny his kid access to his hometown by saying, "I'm totally against that because this is where he's from. And I find it offensive that a district attorney would take something away from him that isn't a home from here. She's from another state, and to see her take a man away from his home and force him to move somewhere else." Williams Sr. also took use of the occasion to support district attorney candidate Courtney Kramer, saying she is the best person to deal with what he believes to be a troubled judicial system in Fulton County.